Greetings everybody, this is Sweet Beats with Sweet Beats Tech Stop, giving us a little update here on the Roland JUNO-106 keyboard that followed me home recently. I posted about it in another video. I'll put a link to that video in the description, but this was something that came home to me free, and free is a good price, and a Juno is worth fixing up. Now, I'm not a keyboard guy, but grew up around keyboards and of course lots of electronics and things, and so I've been looking for something to add to the studio here, and I like analog synths and I like physical hardware, so this was a pleasant surprise. Anyway, I am affectionately dubbing this JUNO-106 the PUKO-106. As I pointed out before, this is, yes, that is vomit. There was vomit here on the top panel, just kind of a spray. So clearly projectile, and from the audience side, maybe it was the bass player, I don't know. But here's where we're at. I'll go over some more detail on what I've done so far. But I did some preliminary stuff, took it apart quite a bit, did some preliminary work on it, put it back together, and it's in test mode to test the voice modules. And unfortunately, if I'm seeing this correctly, I get no sound on any of the voice modules, which is strange to me because, let's boot it back up in regular mode, and let's just, like, I just get a little click on this, but like on this one, hopefully you can hear that out of the headphones. Like, that seems to be working, and it seems if none of the voice modules were functional per the test I just demonstrated, none of the patches would make any noise. So I'm a little confused by that, but at any rate, I think this PUKO-106 is due for voice module replacement. But what I have done so far, clearly I've taken the top panel off, completely removed everything from it, and cleaned that all up. So I had most of this out. Removed the MIDI board, I've cleaned that up, and by the way, I have caps ordered. I'm going to just recap the whole thing. But got that cleaned up, treated the switches, removed the panel board, completely stripped that down, removed all of the slide potentiometers, removed all of the tactile switches, cleaned everything up. I did go ahead and recap this because I had what was needed to do that. There's just 3 caps on that. They're all just power supply filter caps. And got a full new set of tactile switches, put those in, full brand new set of slide potentiometers, which I debated on because they, I know how to disassemble those styles of potentiometers and clean them up, but many of them were measuring about 70 kilo ohms, and they're supposed to be 50K. And I just thought, may as well just replace them. It wasn't too expensive. So all of that stuff is new. The high pass filter slide switch, I did disassemble that and clean that up properly. It's in pretty good shape, and that seems to be working fine. So panel board rebuilt, basically. Oh, and a new set of dust shields from Beltone Synth. Jack board, I've removed that, cleaned it up, treated the pitch pot and the level switch. Again, I'll be pulling that off again once the caps come in and recapping that. So that's, I kind of did it that way. I wanted to, because most of the tactile switches weren't working, And you can't, I couldn't even get it into test mode because the poly 1 and 2 switches weren't working, so I couldn't even get it into the test mode. So that's why I just thought, just rebuild this whole thing, clean this up, clean this all up. I removed the top panel off completely and stripped everything from it and cleaned it, which is what you do when there's vomit on it. And then get this back in and then see where we're at with the voice modules. So the other thing that I did, because the power switch is hard soldered at the switch and at the fuse board, I went ahead and put in some spade type quick disconnects so that if I ever want to remove the top panel again, it's easy to do that. And I'm choosing to back mount my power jack. I still have to get some other hardware, so this is temporary. But normally the power jack receptacle is mounted from the exterior side and screwed in, and then the wires are hard soldered at each end. Now with it back mounted, I actually think it looks a little nicer on the back panel, and I can simply unscrew it. Again, I have temporary screws here. I'm going to be getting some M3 screws and nuts to mount this. But then I can unplug this and pop that out and feed it through that way if I need to. And then this I can unscrew and remove, and then I can take the top panel off. The other thing I'm going to do, all of the screws that just screw into the wood base, I don't like that. Every time you screw one in and unscrew it, you make dust. You can't secure them positively. You know, it's easy for them to strip out. So a lot of the things that mount to the base have T-nuts in them, like the hinge screws, the transformer, you know, some other crucial things, the key bed. So I got some M3 T-nuts and some 21 or 20 millimeter M3 screws, and I'm going to just drill through the holes that are already there, mount the T-nuts, and then all of the boards will be able to screw in with machine screws. So next up, now that I know that I think I'm having issues with all of the voice modules, gonna get the module board off. Again, I'll be recapping that along with the other boards. Remove voice and wave modules. I'm planning on getting a full set of new wave and voice modules, socketing them. Need to get a new battery and power supply. Let me talk about that a little bit. Of course, I'll be recapping it. There are some opinions that are consistent that the M5230 regulator should be replaced, that it commonly fails. Now, I've not personally run into that. I've worked on a lot of power supplies of, 80s, 90s era Japanese electronics, both consumer and professional, that use the 5230 regulator. It's a good part, but it's been out of production for a long time. Anything you can get now is going to be new old stock or secondhand. And so the opinion of some is, you should replace it. Spend the 15 to 20 bucks or whatever, or 10 to 20 bucks and get a new old stock part and just put that in, just shotgun that. And I'm not going to be doing that, but I am going to replace the, there's some diodes that are strapped across the outputs of the plus minus 15 volt supply. They're, I think, reverse polarity protection diodes. You can replace them with a 5 watt 17 volt zener. It'll still provide the reverse polarity protection, but it will also crowbar the supply if something fails upstream, and it'll limit the output to 17 volts. So it'll still protect what's downstream. And I think that's just a good idea to do anyway. I'll put some information in the description about what that part is. It's a It's a cheap zener diode. Get a couple of those and replace the rectifiers with the zeners. The other thing I'm going to do, so these two power transistors for the plus minus 15 volt supply, as well as the 7805 regulator, 5 volt regulator, they're mounted to the heat sink with a sheet metal screw. And I don't like that, so I'm planning on drilling that out, tapping that so that a machine screw can be used for a little bit better positive fastening. And I'm also kind of surprised that no thermal paste was used, so I'm gonna put a little bit of thermal paste on there when I remount those. I'll do what's also typical, just look at the solder joints, see if there's any scorching, replace parts that look like they've been heated. If there is scorching, when I mount the new part, bend those tails for better positive contact on the traces, that sort of thing. So that's what's going to happen there. And then of course the key bed's got to come off. I've verified all the key contacts are working okay, so I'm not planning on shotgunning the key contacts at this point. Pulling those off, wiping them down with alcohol, both sides, getting everything cleaned up, pulling all the springs and the keys off, and certainly giving them a good bath. But anyway, it powers up, it works. I don't think we have any substantial processing problems. I think we have voice and wave generation issues. I think a recap is in order and a good cleaning up. I also got new slide potentiometers for the bender board. I'll put those in, and we'll see where the rest of things sit after we get the new modules in. But wanted to just give that update and kind of what the plans are and what we're working with here. So thanks for watching. Please feel free to post any comments or questions. I'm happy to engage and answer any questions, and appreciate any feedback as well. If you enjoy this content and want to be flagged when I put up new content, please feel free to like and subscribe. Always appreciate that. And thanks again for watching.